Have you ever felt that a message reached you at the perfect moment, as if the universe itself had conspired to place you in front of something that could forever change your life? That strange, almost magical sensation where words seem to seek you out, where each phrase resonates in the deepest part of your being, as if it had been written specifically for your current situation. If you're here watching this video at this precise moment, it's not coincidence. It's because something within you already knew. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. There exists an extraordinary book, one that isn't promoted in the most popular bookstores or featured on bestseller lists, but that has the peculiar characteristic of finding exactly the right people at the right time. This knowledge doesn't find you when you desperately search for it, but when your subconscious mind is already prepared to receive the teachings that can completely transform your financial reality. Has this ever happened to you? Have you struggled financially for years? Have you tried different strategies, read financial advice, attempted to change your situation again and again, but something always seems to be missing, that puzzle piece that would convert all your effort into tangible results? It's as if this ancestral knowledge patiently waits for the moment when your soul is ready to absorb truths that have remained hidden for decades. This mental formula only reveals its power when someone is truly prepared to hear it and apply it without doubts or excuses. The uncomfortable truth that few dare to acknowledge is that you weren't born to barely survive, scraping pennies and living in constant financial worry. Your purpose isn't to settle for the minimum, to live in scarcity, or to accept that this is how things are for people like you. You were designed to lead, to prosper, to convert your mind into a powerful magnet that attracts abundance and wealth naturally and sustainably. But here's the detail that changes everything. This transformation process has nothing to do with luck, inherited privileges, or special connections. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now might surprise you and challenge everything you thought you knew about wealth creation. We're not talking about superficial techniques or magical formulas that promise results without effort. We're entering territory where your mind becomes the most powerful tool you possess, where each consciously directed thought transforms into a direct order to the universe. Because if you feel these words are igniting something within you, if there's a deep resonance you can't rationally explain, then your subconscious already recognizes this truth and is preparing you for the awakening that's about to begin. I invite you to subscribe because this is just the beginning. Here we constantly share the most advanced techniques for developing that mindset that turns dreams into tangible wealth. And it's precisely at this moment of awakening where the first hidden truth begins to reveal itself. The truth that will forever change your perspective on wealth creation. Because behind every great fortune, every extraordinary financial transformation, there exists a fundamental principle that operates as an unbreakable universal law. When the mind truly decides, the entire universe mobilizes to obey that decision. This isn't abstract philosophy or superficial magical thinking. We're talking about an invisible but absolutely real mechanism that governs the manifestation of everything that exists around you. Every building you see, every successful business, every revolutionary invention, every financial empire, everything without exception had the same starting point. A clear mental vision in the mind of someone who dared to believe it was possible. Thoughts, when combined with defined purpose and ardent faith, become powerful things, tangible forces capable of molding physical reality. We're not talking about simple passing ideas that cross your mind during the day, but consciously directed thoughts, sustained with unwavering determination and fueled with the emotional energy of authentic desire. Most people live completely unaware of this power residing within them. They spend years waiting for something external to change their Circumstances, begging for an opportunity, waiting for the perfect moment, searching for the secret formula in the wrong places, without realizing that the master key to their financial transformation is exactly where it has always been, in their capacity to decide with an intensity that transcends doubt. But here emerges the crucial difference between those who manage to create real wealth and those who remain trapped in patterns of scarcity. Most want to improve their lives. Everyone has desires for prosperity, but very few are truly willing to decide with the kind of power that moves invisible mountains. They prefer to remain in the comfortable zone of indecision, where they can complain about their circumstances without assuming total responsibility for transforming them. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, doesn't respond to the lukewarm, to those who doubt, to those who want but don't fully commit. It responds only to those who decide with absolute intensity, with that iron determination that accepts no excuses and allows no retreat. It's a law as precise as gravity. Energy follows directed thought, and thought directed with authentic emotion becomes an irrevocable order to the universe. When you understand that there is no genuine wealth without ardent desire, everything begins to change in your perception. We're not talking about a passing whim or superficial yearning that arises when you see others' lifestyle on social media. Ardent desire is that inner force that consumes, that doesn't let you sleep peacefully until you've taken every necessary step to reach your vision. It's that energy that makes you get up early without needing an alarm, that drives you to study when others are distracted, that keeps you focused when the entire world seems to conspire against you. It's the difference between wanting something and being willing to become the person capable of sustaining it. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic because what you've just discovered is merely the surface of a revelation that can completely rewrite your financial destiny. Write in the comments, "My mind has already decided," if you feel this truth is resonating with you, because there's something fascinating happening behind the scenes of this transformation, something most people never fully understand. The decision isn't simply a thought that crossed your mind or a New Year's resolution you wrote on paper. True decision is pure energy in its most concentrated state, a vibrational force that literally reorganizes the invisible structure of your reality. When you decide with real intensity, not with that lukewarmness that characterizes most people, but with that iron determination that admits no alternatives, something extraordinary begins to happen in both your internal and external world. It's as if you activate an invisible magnetic field that starts attracting exactly what you need to materialize that decision. The right people begin to appear in your path without you actively seeking them. Brilliant ideas emerge at the most unexpected moments. Opportunities that were completely off your radar suddenly become evident and accessible. Casual conversations transform into gateways to new possibilities. And all this happens because you moved first with absolute conviction. This isn't a romantic coincidence or unfounded magical thinking. It's the natural response of the universe to an unequivocal signal you've sent. This process of transformation is part of a precise mental science that has been buried for generations, jealously guarded, and transmitted only to those who demonstrate they're ready to handle its power without destroying themselves in the process. The burning desire that fuels that decision isn't simply an emotion more intense than others. It's much more powerful and precise than that. It functions as a direct instruction, a specific order that your subconscious mind receives and executes without questioning. Your subconscious, that immense part of your mind that operates 24 hours a day, processing information and connecting patterns your conscious mind cannot perceive, receives that order from burning desire and immediately begins working to fulfill it. It starts filtering the information you receive daily, highlighting exactly what brings you closer to your goal and discarding everything that doesn't contribute to that vision. It begins to subtly influence your daily decisions, leading you to take actions that your logical mind may not fully understand at the moment, but which later turn out to be exactly the right steps. It makes you notice details that previously went unperceived, drives you to initiate conversations that open unexpected doors, connects you with resources and knowledge that seemed impossible to reach. This isn't about superficial techniques or magical formulas promising effortless results. We're delving into territory where your mind becomes the most powerful tool you possess, where each consciously directed thought transforms into a direct order to the universe. When you understand that every thought directed with purpose becomes a creative force, your relationship with reality fundamentally shifts. The revelation I'm about to share will completely destroy one of the most dangerous myths, keeping the majority trapped in patterns of financial mediocrity. There exists this widespread belief that wealth is a matter of luck, of being in the right place at the right time, or having privileged connections from birth. This victim mentality is exactly what separates those who build financial empires from those who spend their entire lives waiting for something magical to happen from outside. The uncomfortable truth that no one wants to face is that absolutely no one becomes rich by accident. Every millionaire, every person who has radically transformed their financial reality, first did so by building a mental image so clear, so obsessive, and so indomitable that it became the dominant force of their existence. Write in the comments, I understand the power of deciding, if you feel how this energy is beginning to move in your life, because what you're about to discover will completely destroy one of the most dangerous myths, keeping most people trapped in patterns of financial mediocrity. We're not talking about occasional fantasies or vague dreams that appear when you see others' lifestyle on social media. We're talking about that crystal clear vision that takes hold of your mind in such a way that it becomes more real than your present situation. It's that internal fire that burns constantly, that doesn't extinguish with the first failure, nor with the criticism of those who don't understand your vision, nor with months of effort without apparent results. It's a directed obsession toward a specific purpose that transcends temporary circumstances. This mental image isn't an escape from reality, it's the deliberate construction of a new reality. Each detail you visualize with emotional intensity, each scenario you vividly imagine, each sensation you experience in that vision becomes a precise instruction for your subconscious. And your subconscious, with its infinite capacity to process information and connect patterns, immediately begins working to convert that image into tangible experience. Behind every extraordinary financial transformation exists this fundamental principle that operates as an unbreakable universal law. When the mind truly decides, the entire universe mobilizes to obey that decision. This isn't just inspiration to motivate you temporarily. It's a revelation about how reality operates at its most fundamental level. What you're witnessing is the blueprint of creation that has shaped our world since the beginning of time. Look around you. Every building you see, every successful business, every revolutionary invention, every financial empire, everything without exception, had the same starting point, a clear mental vision in the mind of someone who dared to believe it was possible. This is the hidden journey behind every achievement that seems miraculous to those watching from the outside. What appears as overnight success to the world was actually years of internal visualization, unwavering faith, and disciplined alignment of thoughts before the physical manifestation appeared. Thoughts, when combined with defined purpose and burning faith, become powerful. Things, tangible forces capable of molding physical reality. The transformation process begins when you understand that thoughts aren't just passive observers of your life, but active architects of your experience. Your mind doesn't simply reflect the world around you, it creates it through the frequency and intensity of your dominant thoughts. The journey toward wealth begins with this profound awakening, the realization that the power to transform your financial reality has always existed within you. It was never about finding the right opportunity, the perfect timing, or the ideal strategy. Those external elements naturally align when your internal landscape has been properly prepared through the power of decisive thinking. This decisive mental power operates through a specific mechanism that few fully understand. When you make a decision with absolute clarity and total commitment, not the lukewarm, uncertain decisions that characterize most people's approach to wealth, but a decision that burns with such intensity that it consumes all doubt. You activate a process of manifestation that begins reorganizing the invisible structures of your reality. The difference between vague wanting and decisive power lies in the level of internal commitment. Most people operate from a place of, "I hope this works," or "I'll try this and see what happens." But those who manifest extraordinary wealth operate from, "This is happening, and I am committed to seeing it through no matter what." Obstacles appear. This shift in mental positioning creates an entirely different energetic signature that the universe responds to with matching precision. Your thoughts are not merely abstract concepts floating in your mind. They are living, breathing blueprints that your subconscious mind and the universe use to construct your physical reality. Every thought carries a vibrational signature, and when reinforced with emotion and repetition, becomes a command to the field of infinite possibilities that surrounds you. Write in the comments, "My thoughts create my reality," if you're beginning to feel how this understanding is shifting your perspective on what's truly possible for you. But here emerges the crucial difference that separates those who successfully create real wealth from those who remain trapped in patterns of scarcity. Most people want to improve their financial situation. They have desires, dreams, and goals they hope to achieve. Yet there's a profound distinction between wanting something and being willing to decide with the kind of power that literally moves invisible mountains. This distinction operates at the deepest level of your consciousness. Those who merely want better circumstances position themselves as passive recipients, hoping that favorable conditions will somehow find them. They say things like, "I hope to be wealthy someday," or "I wish I could afford that lifestyle." These statements, though seemingly innocent, reveal a fundamental misalignment with the laws of manifestation. They place all the power outside of themselves and position themselves as helpless observers waiting for external change. In stark contrast, those who decide with absolute intensity take full ownership of their destiny. They refuse to remain in the comfortable zone of indecision where they can complain about circumstances without assuming total responsibility for transforming them. Their internal dialogue sounds completely different. "I am creating my financial freedom," or "This wealth is already mine in the process of materializing." This shift in positioning isn't semantic wordplay. It's a complete realignment of your energetic relationship with abundance. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, operates through precise laws that never falter. Just as gravity doesn't make exceptions based on who's falling, the law of manifestation responds with mathematical precision to the signals you broadcast. And here's the revelation that changes everything. The universe doesn't respond to the lukewarm, to those who doubt, to those who want but don't fully commit. It responds only to those who decide with absolute intensity, with that iron determination that accepts no excuses and allows no retreat. This is why so many remain frustrated despite years of positive thinking, visualization practices, or following wealth strategies. They're sending mixed signals, hoping for abundance while simultaneously broadcasting doubt, setting goals while internally believing they're unattainable, desiring wealth while harboring resentment toward those who already have it. These contradictory frequencies create a chaotic, energetic signature that the universe cannot clearly respond to. When you decide with the kind of unwavering determination that transcends all doubt, you align every level of your being, conscious, subconscious, and energetic, with your desired outcome. This alignment creates a coherent signal so powerful that the universe has no choice but to reorganize circumstances to match your internal reality. It's like tuning a radio to a specific frequency with such precision that the signal comes through with perfect clarity, free from static or interference. This level of decisive power doesn't develop overnight. It's cultivated through consistent mental discipline, through the daily practice of rejecting thoughts that contradict your vision, through the moment-by-moment choice to align your words, emotions, and actions with the reality you're creating rather than the one you're leaving behind. The journey toward this unwavering determination is itself transformative, building internal muscles that forever change how you navigate reality. Behind the scenes of every great financial breakthrough, you'll find this common thread: someone who refused to accept the apparent limitations of their circumstances, who maintained their vision with such intensity that the world eventually had no choice but to reflect it back to them. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They created them through the sheer force of their decided mind. This decision must come from the deepest part of your being. It cannot be a surface-level affirmation or a temporary surge of motivation. It must be so fundamental, so completely integrated into your identity, that considering alternatives becomes unthinkable. When your decision reaches this level of commitment, the universe bends toward your vision with an almost magnetic attraction. Write in the comments, "My decision is absolute," if you can feel this unwavering determination beginning to awaken within you as we explore the transformative power that occurs when burning desire combines with absolute faith. When you understand that there is no genuine wealth without burning desire, everything begins to change in your perception. We're not talking about a passing whim or that superficial yearning that arises when you see others' lifestyle on social media. The burning desire that transforms financial reality is an entirely different force. It's that internal fire that consumes you, that doesn't let you sleep peacefully until you've taken every necessary step to reach your vision. This burning desire manifests as that energy that makes you get up early without needing an alarm, that drives you to study when others are distracted, that keeps you focused when the entire world seems to conspire against you. It's the difference between casually wanting something and being willing to become the person capable of sustaining it. This desire transcends comfort, convenience, and even logic. It's a force so powerful that it reorganizes your entire life around its fulfillment. The transformation begins at a molecular level within your consciousness. True decision isn't merely a mental exercise or an intellectual choice. It's pure energy in its most concentrated state, a vibrational force that literally reorganizes the invisible structure of your reality. When you decide with that level of intensity and commitment, something extraordinary happens in the quantum field that surrounds you. The very fabric of possibility begins to shift in response to your energetic signature. Think of it as tuning into a specific frequency on a radio. Before, your energy was scattered across multiple stations, picking up bits and pieces from various broadcasts. But when you focus with burning desire and absolute decision, you tune precisely to the frequency of your vision. Suddenly the static clears, and you receive crystal-clear transmission of exactly the opportunities, ideas, and connections needed to manifest your financial breakthrough. This vibrational shift explains why two people can encounter the same opportunity with completely different results. One person sees nothing special, just another passing possibility among many. The other, operating from burning desire and decisive energy, recognizes it immediately as the exact door they've been preparing to walk through. Same external circumstance, radically different perception based on internal alignment. The burning desire creates an almost magnetic attraction between you and the resources necessary for your vision's manifestation. People who can help you suddenly appear in your life. Books containing exactly the information you need seem to find their way to you. Conversations that would have once gone unnoticed now reveal crucial insights. This isn't mystical coincidence. It's the natural result of your subconscious mind, activated by burning desire, filtering reality through the lens of your specific vision. What most fail to realize is that this mental energy doesn't just attract external circumstances, it fundamentally transforms you from within. The person who began the journey with burning desire inevitably becomes someone else entirely through the process. The challenges you face, the skills you develop, the mindset you cultivate, all are part of the essential metamorphosis, preparing you to not just achieve wealth, but to sustain and expand it. This burning desire creates a momentum that transcends temporary obstacles. When you encounter resistance, as you inevitably will, the intensity of your desire doesn't diminish, it intensifies. Each challenge becomes not a reason to abandon your vision, but an opportunity to demonstrate your unwavering commitment to it. This resilience in the face of setbacks is what separates those who merely dream of wealth from those who actually create it. The universe responds to this level of desire not because it favors some people over others, but because this intense mental energy creates a clear, unambiguous signal that can be precisely matched. Lukewarm wanting creates confused, contradictory signals that result in equally confused, contradictory results. Burning desire creates powerful, consistent signals that the universe can respond to with matching clarity. Write in the comments, "My desire burns intensely." If you can feel this transformative fire beginning to ignite within your consciousness, as we explore how this mental energy begins creating a magnetic field that attracts precisely what you need. When you make a decision with real intensity, not that lukewarm, hesitant type of decision most people make, but with that iron determination that admits no alternatives, something extraordinary begins to happen in both your internal and external world. It's as if you activate an invisible magnetic field that starts attracting exactly what you need to materialize that decision. The right people begin to appear in your path without you actively seeking them. Brilliant ideas emerge at the most unexpected moments. Opportunities that were completely off your radar suddenly become evident and accessible. Casual conversations transform into gateways to new possibilities. And all this happens because you moved first with absolute conviction. This isn't a romantic coincidence or unfounded magical thinking. It's the natural response of the universe to an unequivocal signal you've sent. When your internal decision reaches that critical intensity, when it transcends the level of simple desire and becomes an irrevocable declaration of your new destiny, the entire world reorganizes itself to accommodate that new reality you've declared. But there's something even deeper operating in this process. Something that reveals the true mechanics behind every genuine financial transformation. The burning desire that fuels that decision isn't simply an emotion more intense than others. It's much more powerful and precise than that. It functions as a direct instruction, a specific order that your subconscious mind receives and executes without questioning. Your subconscious, that immense part of your mind that operates 24 hours a day processing information and connecting patterns your conscious mind cannot perceive, receives that order from burning desire and immediately begins working to fulfill it. It starts filtering the information you receive daily, highlighting exactly what brings you closer to your goal and discarding everything that doesn't contribute to that vision. It begins to subtly influence your daily decisions, leading you to take actions that your logical mind may not fully understand at the moment, but which later turn out to be exactly the right steps. It makes you notice details that previously went unperceived, drives you to initiate conversations that open unexpected doors, connects you with resources and knowledge that seemed impossible to reach. This is why two people can be exposed to exactly the same information or opportunity, yet only one recognizes its value. Their subconscious minds are operating with completely different instructions, filtering reality through entirely different lenses. The impact of this subconscious reprogramming is immediately evident in your day-to-day experience. You'll find yourself naturally drawn to information related to your financial goal. Books, conversations, and ideas that previously seemed boring or irrelevant suddenly become fascinating. You'll notice patterns and connections that were always there but remained invisible to you because your subconscious wasn't programmed to highlight them. This subconscious filtering mechanism explains why so many miss opportunities that are literally right in front of them. Their burning desire hasn't been activated with sufficient intensity to reprogram their perception filters. They look but don't see, they listen but don't hear, they touch but don't feel the possibilities surrounding them. Their subconscious continues operating on old programming, filtering out precisely the opportunities they claim to be seeking. When your subconscious receives clear, emotionally charged instructions through burning desire, it doesn't just passively wait for opportunities, it actively creates them. It begins making connections between seemingly unrelated pieces of information, generating creative solutions to problems that previously seemed insurmountable, recognizing patterns that lead to breakthrough insights. This creative function of the subconscious is what often appears as luck, or being in the right place at the right time to outside observers. The most fascinating aspect of this process is that once properly instructed, your subconscious continues working even when your conscious mind is focused elsewhere. While you're sleeping, relaxing, or engaged in completely unrelated activities, this powerful mental processor continues scanning, filtering, and connecting information in service of your declared intention. This is why solutions to complex problems often appear when you're in the shower, taking a walk, or just waking up. Your subconscious has been working continuously behind the scenes and delivers the solution when your conscious mind is relaxed enough to receive it. Understanding this subconscious mechanism transforms your approach to wealth creation. Instead of frantically searching for the secret formula or the perfect opportunity, you focus on programming your mental operating system with absolute clarity and emotional intensity. The external manifestations, the opportunities, resources, and breakthroughs then appear as natural consequences of this internal alignment. Write in the comments, "My subconscious is reprogramming," if you're beginning to feel how this understanding is shifting the way you perceive your journey toward financial abundance. The uncomfortable truth that no one wants to face is that absolutely no one becomes rich by accident. Every millionaire, every person who has radically transformed their financial reality, first did so by building a mental image so clear, so obsessive, and so indomitable that it became the dominant force of their existence. We're not talking about occasional fantasies or vague dreams that appear when you see others' lifestyle on social media. We're talking about that crystal clear vision that takes hold of your mind in such a way that it becomes more real than your present situation. It's that internal fire that burns constantly, that doesn't extinguish with the first failure, nor with the criticism of those who don't understand your vision, nor with months of effort without apparent results. It's a directed obsession toward a specific purpose that transcends temporary circumstances. This mental image isn't an escape from reality. It's the deliberate construction of a new reality. Each detail you visualize with emotional intensity, each scenario you vividly imagine, each sensation you experience in that vision becomes a precise instruction for your subconscious. And your subconscious, with its infinite capacity to process information and connect patterns, immediately begins working to convert that image into tangible experience. But here comes the revelation that completely changes the rules of the game. It's not enough to have a general vision or an imprecise yearning to improve economically. The difference between those who materialize their financial dreams and those who remain trapped in eternal frustration lies in the absolute specificity of their desire. When you vaguely say, "I want money," or "I want to be successful," you're sending a confused signal to the universe. It's like trying to reach a destination without having the exact address. Your subconscious mind needs precise coordinates to effectively guide you toward your goal. Vague desire produces vague results, while specific and detailed desire produces what many would consider tangible miracles. This means defining exactly how much money you want to generate, not a lot, but a specific figure. Establishing when you want to reach that goal, not someday, but a concrete date. Determining why you want that specific amount, what is the deep purpose that gives meaning and urgency to your objective, and most importantly, visualizing exactly how your life will look when you've reached that goal. This precision isn't a methodological whim, it's a functional necessity. When your desire reaches this level of clarity, your subconscious mind can begin to filter all the information you receive daily, highlighting exactly those opportunities, ideas, and connections that specifically bring you closer to that concrete vision. It's the difference between shooting into the air, hoping to hit something, and aiming with laser precision toward a clearly defined target. The impact of this transformation in your mental approach will be immediate, because when your mind finally understands exactly where it should direct all its creative energy, the entire landscape of possibilities begins to reorganize in ways that initially may seem almost supernatural. Your mental operating system receives specific coordinates for manifestation rather than general, confused directions that lead nowhere in particular. Imagine telling a taxi driver, "Take me somewhere nice," versus giving them a specific address with exact coordinates. In the first scenario, you might end up somewhere pleasant, but it's unlikely to be exactly where you needed to go. In the second scenario, you arrive precisely at your desired destination. The universe responds to your desires with the same level of precision you use in formulating them. This specificity must extend to every dimension of your financial vision. Not just how much money, but how it will come to you, what value you'll provide in exchange for it, how it will feel to possess it, what specifically you'll do with it, how your daily routine will change once you have it. Each detail you clarify becomes another precise coordinate in your manifestation blueprint, eliminating ambiguity and accelerating the manifestation process. The journey toward this level of clarity is itself transformative. As you refine your vision from vague wanting to crystal clear intention, you'll discover aspects of yourself and your relationship with abundance that were previously hidden from your awareness. You'll uncover limiting beliefs that need to be released, discover values that truly drive you, and gain insights into the unique contribution you're meant to make. This process of clarification doesn't just change what you receive, it fundamentally transforms who you become. Write in the comments, "My vision is specific," if you're already feeling how clarity is beginning to transform your perspective. And when that clarity settles deeply in your being, something fascinating begins to manifest in your daily behavior. True desire, the one that has been refined to reach absolute specificity, develops an extraordinary characteristic. It stops needing external motivation to drive you toward action. It doesn't ask permission from your mood. It doesn't wait for you to feel inspired. It doesn't depend on favorable circumstances to activate itself. It transforms into what we could call an organized obsession, not the destructive obsession that consumes and exhausts, but that directed force that completely reorganizes your priorities and vital energy. It's the internal transformation that makes you naturally wake before dawn. Not because you have to, but because your nervous system is so aligned with your vision that prolonged rest feels like a waste of valuable time. You find yourself studying, learning, refining your skills at moments when others choose distraction or superficial entertainment. Not through forced discipline, but because that information, that knowledge, those new competencies have become as attractive as the air you breathe. Your subconscious mind has understood that each new learning is a direct step toward the materialization of your specific vision. And when those inevitable moments of resistance arrive, when the path becomes apparently impossible, when others around you abandon their purposes and suggest you do the same, that organized obsession becomes your unbreakable anchor. It keeps you moving when logic suggests stopping, drives you to seek alternatives when others see dead ends, gives you the emotional resistance to go through periods of uncertainty that would break those who only have superficial desires. But what's truly extraordinary happens when you understand how to exponentially amplify this internal force. There exists an invisible alchemy operating behind the scenes of all extraordinary manifestation, a combination that very few manage to consciously master. When you mix absolutely clear thoughts with the intense emotion of burning desire, you aren't simply thinking positively or passively visualizing. You're creating an unstoppable force that can literally move invisible mountains and reorganize the circumstances of your external reality. This isn't a poetic metaphor. It's the precise description of a phenomenon that operates constantly in your life, although most remain completely unaware of its power. Every thought carries an energetic charge. But when that thought combines with authentic emotion, especially with the emotion of burning desire directed toward a specific goal, that charge multiplies exponentially. It becomes a vibrational signal so powerful that it penetrates the invisible barriers that normally separate what you desire from what you experience. Your subconscious mind, which processes millions of bits of information per second, begins to capture patterns and connections that previously remained completely hidden. People who could help you on your journey appear in seemingly casual ways. Brilliant ideas emerge at the most unexpected moments. Opportunities that were previously off your radar suddenly become evident and accessible. This process doesn't require that you completely understand the mechanics behind its functioning, but it does demand that you consciously feed it with the precision of someone handling an invisible but absolutely real technology. Each time you combine a specific mental image of your goal with the genuine emotion of having already achieved it, you're sending a direct order to the quantum field of possibilities that surrounds you. The chemical reaction between thought and emotion creates something greater than the sum of its parts. Thought without emotion remains abstract, theoretical, lacking the vital energy needed for manifestation. Emotion without directed thought becomes scattered energy, intense but without specific direction. But when crystal clear thought merges with authentic, intense emotion, you create the perfect alchemical formula for tangible manifestation. This alchemy operates in the deepest recesses of your consciousness, gradually transforming not just your external circumstances, but your fundamental identity. You begin thinking, feeling, and acting from the perspective of someone who already embodies the prosperity you seek. Your nervous system begins operating from a completely different baseline, not from lack, seeking fulfillment, but from abundance expressing itself through you. The most powerful aspect of this thought-emotion alchemy is how it bypasses the logical, critical mind that often sabotages manifestation with doubts, past evidence, and limiting beliefs. When emotion sufficiently charges a thought, it penetrates directly into the subconscious, where all true transformation occurs. This emotional component is what distinguishes effective manifestation from mere intellectual understanding or wishful thinking. Write in the comments, "I feel the force moving," if you can already perceive how this energy is beginning to activate within you. What you've just experienced is only the first level of a much deeper revelation that completely redefines the rules of financial manifestation. There exists a universal law that operates with the same mathematical precision as gravity, but remains invisible to most because it requires a level of understanding that transcends superficial thinking. This law establishes that anything the human mind can conceive and truly believe can be achieved, without exception. We're not talking about an inspirational metaphor or an abstract philosophical concept. This is a scientific statement about the very nature of reality and your power to shape it. Your mind functions as a manifestation workshop where mental images are constantly being fabricated. And these images, when held with the adequate intensity and clarity, become the exact blueprints that physical reality translates into concrete facts. Each time you visualize your financial success with specific details, each time you vividly imagine how it feels to have that bank account you desire, each time you mentally experience the freedom that comes with abundance, you're literally building the invisible energetic structure that precedes all material manifestation. You aren't simply daydreaming. You're participating in the fundamental creative process of the universe. This understanding completely transforms your relationship with money and success because you recognize that you're not pursuing something external to yourself, but rather developing the internal capacity to become a magnetic attraction point for the circumstances you wish to experience. The focused mind doesn't wait for wealth to arrive by chance or favorable external events. It becomes the deliberate architect of that wealth. The specific process for activating this mental architecture requires a precision that most never develop. You must choose an absolutely clear financial goal, not an approximate figure, but an exact number that represents your first abundance goal. That objective must be written with ink on paper, not just kept in your memory, because the physical act of writing establishes an energetic contract between your conscious and subconscious mind. But writing it is just the beginning of a mental ritual that completely reconfigures your belief system. That written objective must be read every day, preferably aloud, with the same devotion with which a musician practices scales or an athlete trains their basic movements. Each repetition isn't a simple mechanical reading. It's a deliberate reinstallation of your new mental programming. And here comes the part that separates those who materialize their visions from those who only maintain them as distant fantasies. It's not enough to read that objective as if it were a future goal. You must feel it as if it were already your present reality. You must experience the gratitude of having already achieved it, the tranquility of already possessing it, the security of already living it. This daily practice of feeling your goal as present reality creates what we might call a specific mental vibration. Money, abundance, financial opportunities don't arrive by chance or luck. They respond to specific vibratory frequencies. When your mind consistently maintains the vibration of abundance already achieved, it becomes an irresistible magnet for circumstances that match that frequency. Your nervous system begins to function from the perspective of someone who already lives in abundance, which subtly but powerfully influences every decision you make, every opportunity you recognize, every action you take. It's a transformation process from the inside out that operates 24 hours a day, even when your conscious mind is focused on other activities. The mental images you hold with emotion aren't merely passive pictures, they're active architects constantly reshaping the quantum field of possibilities around you. Each thought, combined with authentic emotion, sends ripples through this field, attracting resonant experiences and repelling dissonant ones. This is why two people with similar external circumstances can experience such dramatically different financial trajectories. From the outside, they may have access to identical resources and opportunities, but internally, one operates from a workshop of limitation, constantly manufacturing blueprints of scarcity, while the other operates from a workshop of abundance, consistently creating blueprints of prosperity. The universe, with its perfect precision, delivers to each exactly what they're energetically ordering. There exists an element even more powerful in this mental alchemy that can exponentially accelerate this entire process. Write in the comments, "My mind is my tool," if you feel this understanding is fundamentally changing your perspective on wealth creation. And it's precisely at this point where most people stop without realizing it, believing they've understood the complete process, when in reality they've barely touched the surface of their true manifestation potential. There exists a profound difference between a goal casually held in mind and one that has been deliberately anchored in physical reality. The specific process that transforms mere wishes into tangible manifestations begins with an act that many consider insignificant, yet contains extraordinary power. Your financial goal must be written with ink on paper, not typed on a screen, not stored in digital notes, not merely kept in your memory. This physical act of writing establishes an energetic contract between your conscious and subconscious mind, creating a bridge between the visible and invisible realms of manifestation. When you commit your exact financial target to paper, something remarkable occurs in your neurological pathways. The physical movement of your hand, the visual feedback of seeing the numbers form, the tactile sensation of pen on paper. All these sensory experiences create multiple imprints in your brain, dramatically enhancing the goal's prominence in your consciousness. It's as if you're registering your intention, not just mentally, but physically in the material world, announcing to the universe that this isn't a passing fancy, but a concrete declaration of intent. But writing it is merely the beginning of a mental ritual that completely reconfigures your belief system from the inside out. That written objective must be read every day, preferably aloud, with the same devotion with which a concert pianist practices scales or an Olympic athlete trains foundational movements. Each repetition isn't simply a mechanical reading, it's a deliberate reinstallation of your new mental programming, strengthening neural pathways that support your vision while weakening those that maintain old patterns of limitation. And here emerges the crucial element that separates those who materialize their visions from those who maintain them as distant fantasies. It's not enough to read that objective as if it were a future goal. You must feel it as if it were already your present reality. You must experience the gratitude of having already achieved it, the tranquility of already possessing it, the security of already living it. This isn't pretending or self-deception. It's a deliberate alignment with the vibrational frequency of what you're calling into your life. This daily practice of feeling your goal as present reality creates what we might call a specific mental vibration. The universe, in all its quantum complexity, doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to the frequency you consistently broadcast. Money, abundance, financial opportunities don't arrive by chance or luck. They respond to specific vibratory frequencies. When your mind consistently maintains the vibration of abundance already achieved, it becomes an irresistible magnet for circumstances that match that frequency. Your nervous system begins functioning from the perspective of someone who already lives in abundance, which subtly but powerfully influences every decision you make, every opportunity you recognize, every action you take. You begin naturally speaking differently, carrying yourself differently, making choices differently, not through conscious effort, but as the natural expression of this new vibrational state. Others begin responding to you differently, though they couldn't articulate exactly what has changed about your presence. This vibration isn't something mystical or separate from your physical reality. It's the sum total of your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and expectations operating at a level that precedes verbal articulation. Your subconscious doesn't recognize the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. When you consistently imagine the feeling of financial abundance with emotional intensity, your brain begins producing the same neurochemicals it would if the experience were physically happening. The most extraordinary aspect of this vibrational transformation is how it begins reorganizing your perception filters. You suddenly notice opportunities that were always there but remained invisible to your previous vibrational state. Conversations reveal insights you would have missed before. Resources appear that you would have overlooked. Connections form that previously seemed impossible. This isn't the universe magically changing for you. It's your perception expanding to recognize what was always available but filtered out by your previous vibration of limitation. This vibrational alignment must be cultivated with the precision of a master craftsman, consistently reinforced through your daily ritual of reading, feeling, and embodying your written goal. Each time you engage in this practice, you're strengthening the electromagnetic field of attraction around you, drawing your written goal from the realm of possibility into the realm of tangible reality. Write in the comments, "I'm changing my vibration," if you can feel this energetic shift beginning to take place within your consciousness as we explore how true transformation requires absolute specificity in your desires. There exists an abysmal difference between desiring something superficially and developing the type of burning desire that literally transcends everything else in your life experience. Most people operate from a lukewarm level of wanting that never generates the necessary energy to break through the invisible barriers separating their current situation from their ideal vision. They think that desiring means occasionally imagining how it would be to have more abundance, perhaps writing some goals on paper, maybe sporadically visualizing their future success. But the burning desire that builds financial empires goes far beyond these superficial gestures. It's about being genuinely willing to pay any price that transformation demands, without reservations or conditions. It means recognizing that your current version, with its poverty habits, limiting thought patterns, and familiar excuses, must die for the version of you that can sustain the wealth you visualize to be born. This willingness for sacrifice isn't masochism or self-destruction. It's the mature understanding that all genuine evolution requires leaving behind elements of your identity that no longer serve your expanded vision. It's being willing to wake up earlier, study more deeply, take calculated risks that others would consider irresponsible, maintain your focus when everyone around you suggests settling for less. The true burning desire manifests when your vision becomes more real than your present comfort, when the discomfort of remaining where you are exceeds any fear associated with moving toward where you want to be. It's that internal transformation where your goal stops being something you want and becomes something you are, something you will inevitably materialize because it already forms an integral part of your identity. But here comes the revelation that definitively separates dreamers from creators of real wealth. It's not enough to have an intense burning desire. You must convert that desire into what we might call an organized obsession. And this distinction is absolutely crucial because many people confuse destructive obsession with the creative obsession that generates extraordinary results. Destructive obsession consumes your energy in circular thoughts, unproductive anxiety, and superficial emotionalism that exhausts without producing real advancement. It's that mental loop that keeps you awake at night with worry rather than inspired action. It's the consuming fixation that makes you talk endlessly about your goals without implementing concrete steps toward them. Organized obsession, by contrast, channels all that emotional intensity towards specific actions, strategic decisions, and a laser focus that converts each day into a measurable step toward your objective. It's committing to your financial goal as if your life literally depended on achieving it, but from a place of power and determination, not from fear or desperation. It's acting with that unwavering determination that accepts no excuses from your mind, that doesn't negotiate with temporary circumstances, that maintains its direction regardless of what external storms appear on the path. This organized obsession manifests in very specific behaviors you can observe in your daily life. You find yourself thinking about your objective, not anxiously, but productively, constantly refining your strategy, identifying new opportunities, developing the necessary skills to sustain the level of abundance you seek. Your internal conversation changes from, "I hope this works," to, "This is going to work, and here's exactly how." Your body language reflects the certainty of someone who already knows their vision will materialize and is simply executing the necessary steps in the correct order. And when others notice this change in your energy, they start treating you differently, opening doors that previously remained closed. People are magnetically drawn to this level of clarity and certainty. They can feel it on an almost visceral level, even if they can't explain rationally why they suddenly perceive you differently. But there exists an even deeper secret about how to maintain this organized obsession working in your favor day after day. It's a psychological mechanism that transforms even your most challenging moments into fuel for continued advancement rather than reasons to abandon your vision. The most successful wealth creators have discovered that obstacles don't signal failure. They indicate you're moving in exactly the right direction, testing your resolve, and developing the exact character traits you'll need to sustain your coming abundance. Write in the comments, "My commitment is total," if you can feel how this organized intensity is beginning to awaken within you. The secret that's about to be revealed will show you exactly how to activate the most powerful mental chemical that exists for transforming any financial situation, no matter how desperate your current starting point may seem. This invisible chemical operates behind the scenes of all extraordinary manifestation, and when you learn to consciously produce it, you can literally convert the most audacious ideas into tangible realities that others would consider impossible. We're talking about faith, but not traditional religious faith, nor the passive hope that keeps people waiting for external miracles. This is faith as a highly concentrated mental state, an unwavering certainty so solid that it doesn't even consider defeat as a possibility. It's that unshakable conviction that transcends present circumstances and anchors completely in the inevitability of your vision. When this faith combines with the intense emotion of burning desire, an extraordinary mental alchemy occurs that can transform the simplest idea into an irresistible magnetic force. You're not simply thinking positively or repeating empty affirmations. You're creating an energetic field so powerful that it begins reorganizing quantum probabilities in your favor, attracting exactly the circumstances, people, and opportunities necessary to materialize your objective. This operational faith doesn't appear automatically nor develop by accident. It must be deliberately built through a specific process that very few completely understand. It develops through constant repetition of emotionally charged affirmations, not recited mechanically like meaningless mantras, but declared with the intensity of someone programming their new reality. Each time you affirm with emotional conviction, "I am prosperous," "abundance flows to me," "I am constantly creating wealth," you aren't simply talking to the air. You're installing new programs in your subconscious mind. You're rewriting the fundamental beliefs that have governed your financial experience until now. But here comes the part that requires a mental discipline that most never develop. This construction of faith demands that you voluntarily direct your thoughts toward the image of your success already materialized. And this means actively and consciously rejecting every contrary thought that tries to infiltrate your mind. It's a daily mental battle between the old programming of limitation and the new programming of abundance you're installing. When doubt thoughts appear, when mental images of failure arise, when your logical mind presents evidence of why your goal is improbable, you must immediately intercept these destructive patterns and redirect your attention toward the vision you're building. This isn't repression or denial of present reality. It's the conscious exercise of your power. To choose what kind of future reality you'll create, this voluntary direction of thought becomes more powerful when you understand that each thought you hold is literally sculpting your destiny. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what you experience physically and what you vividly imagine with intense emotion. For your nervous system, visualizing your success with absolute faith is as real as having already achieved it. And when you maintain this practice consistently, something extraordinary begins to happen in your personal energy field. Your vibration shifts from the frequency of lack to the frequency of abundance. And this new vibration automatically begins attracting experiences that match it. Your body posture reflects more confidence, your voice carries more authority, your decisions become bolder, your presence inspires more respect. People begin perceiving you differently without exactly knowing why, but responding to that new energy you project. Opportunities that were previously beyond your reach suddenly become accessible. Brilliant ideas appear in your mind with greater frequency. Valuable connections present themselves in seemingly casual ways, but following an invisible pattern of magnetic attraction. The most fascinating aspect of this faith-building process is how it restructures your neural pathways. As you consistently direct your thoughts toward prosperity and actively reject thoughts of limitation, you're literally rewiring your brain. Neurons that fire together, wire together, and each time you consciously choose thoughts of abundance over thoughts of scarcity, you're strengthening the neural circuits that support your new financial identity while weakening those that maintained your old limitations. This rewiring doesn't happen overnight. It requires the persistence of someone who understands they're reprogramming decades of mental conditioning. But with consistent practice, your new thought patterns eventually become your default operating system. What once required conscious effort becomes your automatic response. The faith that initially needed to be deliberately cultivated becomes your natural state of being. Write in the comments, "My faith is growing," if you can feel how this internal certainty is beginning to solidify in your daily experience. And that sophisticated element that can dramatically accelerate this entire transformation process operates through what we could call the embodiment or total incarnation of your new prosperous identity. This isn't about pretending or acting artificially, but about beginning to energetically inhabit the space of the person who already possesses what you're manifesting. It's about sending a clear and unequivocal signal to the universe that you're already vibrating at the frequency of your achieved goal. When you act as if you already have the abundance you seek, when you speak from the perspective of someone who already lives in prosperity, when you walk with the confidence of someone who has already materialized their vision, you aren't deceiving anyone or building an elaborate facade. You're participating in a profound, energetic communication with the quantum field of possibilities that constantly surrounds you. Your way of walking reflects the security of someone who knows exactly where they're going and has the absolute certainty they'll get there. Your way of speaking carries the natural authority of someone who has taken complete control of their financial destiny. Your daily decisions, from the smallest to the most significant, are made from the perspective of the prosperous person you're becoming. This transformation in your presence and energy has an immediate impact on how the world responds to you. People begin treating you with greater respect, without knowing exactly why. Business opportunities they wouldn't even consider offering you before suddenly become accessible. Your level of influence naturally expands, because you project the vibration of someone who has arrived, not someone who's struggling to get there. The embodiment of prosperity isn't about external displays or pretending to have what you don't yet possess in material form. It's about aligning your internal state, your thoughts, emotions, expectations, and energy with the reality you're calling forth. It's recognizing that the external manifestation always follows the internal transformation, never the other way around. When you truly embody prosperity, you make decisions differently. You invest in your growth without hesitation because you recognize it as an essential part of your abundance journey. You pursue opportunities that align with your vision without the paralyzing fear that characterizes those still operating from scarcity. You communicate with a natural confidence that comes not from arrogance, but from authentic self-alignment. But here is where most people commit the most costly mistake in their entire journey toward wealth, an error that can sabotage years of effort and keep them trapped in endless cycles of financial frustration. While they're learning to act from their new prosperous identity, they allow a silent enemy to destroy all their progress from within. This enemy is indecision. Indecision isn't simply a minor character weakness or a harmless tendency to postpone difficult decisions. It is poverty in disguise operating behind the scenes of your experience, systematically blocking every opportunity that could lead you toward the abundance you seek. It's the mental virus that infects your manifestation capacity and paralyzes it at the most critical moment. People who manage to build real wealth have a distinctive characteristic that immediately separates them from the rest. They make quick and firm decisions because they know exactly what they want and have the mental clarity to recognize opportunities when they appear. They don't need weeks of analysis. They don't require others' approval. They don't wait for perfect conditions that never arrive. When an opportunity presents itself, when a brilliant idea emerges, when a path toward their goal opens up, they act immediately with the precision of someone who understands that windows of opportunity close as quickly as they open. They understand that in the world of wealth creation, decision speed is directly proportional to manifestation speed. Postponement, by contrast, functions as an energetic repellent for abundance. Each time you doubt, each time you say, "I'll think about it," each time you allow fear disguised as prudence to take control of your decision process, you're sending a vibrational signal of insecurity that makes opportunities literally flee from your energy field. The universe responds to certainty, to clarity, to decisive action. It cannot deliver abundance to someone who isn't sure they want it, who hesitates before opportunities, who changes direction every time they encounter resistance. Indecision creates a chaotic, energetic pattern that confuses the signals you're sending and neutralizes all the manifestation power you've been building. But when you understand how to transform that tendency toward indecision into a refined capacity to make powerful and aligned decisions, you unlock a level of manifestation that can surprise you with its speed and precision. Write in the comments, "I decide with certainty," if you feel this revelation is transforming your relationship with decision-making. This refined capacity to make powerful and aligned decisions connects you directly with the most extraordinary tool you possess for wealth creation, a tool that most dramatically underestimate or relegate to the realm of childish fantasy. We're talking about your imagination, but not the superficial imagination that leads you to daydream without purpose, but imagination as the divine workshop where literally all fortunes are forged before manifesting in the physical world. Everything you can observe around you at this moment, every building, every invention, every successful business, every innovation that has transformed humanity, absolutely everything was born first in the mind of someone who dared to imagine what didn't yet exist. Imagination isn't an escape from reality. It's the laboratory where new reality is designed before appearing in the material plane. When you understand that your imagination is essentially the divine tool that converts thoughts into gold, your relationship with it transforms completely. It's no longer something you do occasionally when you have free time. It becomes your most sacred practice, the space where you deliberately construct the exact blueprints of your financial future. But here comes a crucial distinction that separates those who use their imagination as entertainment from those who employ it as manifestation technology. There exist two fundamentally different types of imagination operating in your mind, and understanding this difference can completely revolutionize your capacity to create abundance. The first is what we might call synthetic imagination, which functions by reorganizing ideas, concepts, and experiences you already know, combining them in new and useful ways. It's the imagination that takes existing elements in your memory and reorders them to create solutions to known problems, improvements to current systems, variations of products that already exist in the market. This synthetic imagination is tremendously valuable and responsible for most of the incremental innovations we constantly see. It's what allows you to adapt strategies that have worked for others to your specific situation, modify existing business models to create new opportunities, combine skills you already have in ways that generate additional value. But there exists a second type of imagination that operates in a completely different dimension, one that can connect you directly with possibilities that transcend everything you currently know. It's creative imagination, that pure spark of genius that functions as a direct channel to the unlimited, to that infinite field of potential that contains all ideas that haven't yet been discovered. In creative imagination is where the great revolutionary inventions are downloaded, the million-dollar ideas that change entire industries, the brilliant solutions to problems that seemed impossible to solve. It's the space where geniuses like Tesla received complete visions of inventions that would transform the world, where visionary entrepreneurs capture business ideas that will create financial empires. This creative imagination doesn't depend on your previous knowledge or accumulated experience. It operates from a superior intelligence that can deliver completely original concepts, strategies that no one else has thought of, opportunities that are waiting to be discovered by someone with the sensitivity to receive them. When you learn to consciously access this level of creative imagination, when you develop the ability to tune into that frequency of pure inspiration, your capacity to generate wealth expands exponentially. You're no longer limited to the obvious ideas or strategies everyone is using. You have access to a constant flow of innovation that can lead you toward completely unique opportunities. The process for consciously activating this creative imagination requires a specific mental state, an internal preparation that very few completely understand. It begins with clearing your mind of the mental chatter and worry that blocks the channel to higher inspiration. Creative imagination cannot flow through a mind clouded with fear, doubt, or excessive analytical thinking. This is why many breakthrough ideas come during moments of relaxation, meditation, or even upon waking, times when the critical, analytical mind temporarily loosens its grip, allowing the channel to creative imagination to open. The wealthiest people throughout history have developed deliberate practices for accessing this state, recognizing it as their most valuable resource for continued innovation and growth. What separates financial visionaries from average performers isn't intelligence in the conventional sense. It's their developed capacity to regularly access this creative imagination and transform the inspirations it provides into tangible business ventures, investment opportunities, and wealth-generating assets. They've learned to trust and act upon the insights that emerge from this seemingly magical source. Write in the comments, "My imagination is power," if you can feel how this new perspective is expanding your vision of what's possible for you. That specific mental state that activates your creative imagination is achieved when you understand and master the art of thinking with obsessive intensity. But not just any type of destructive obsession that drains your mental energy, rather that pure, powerful, and unwavering obsession that becomes the fuel for all extraordinary transformation. It's that internal fire that burns constantly in your consciousness, that doesn't extinguish with the first doubt that appears, nor dies out when you encounter resistance on the path. The type of desire that truly builds financial empires operates from this level of mental intensity that most people never experience because they've been conditioned to keep their thoughts at lukewarm, socially acceptable levels. But real wealth creators understand that mental mediocrity produces mediocre results, while sustained mental intensity generates results that others consider miraculous. When you think about your financial goal with this obsessive intensity, when your abundance vision becomes the dominant thought that colors every moment of your daily experience, something fascinating begins to happen in your personal energy field. Your mind transforms into something like a high-powered magnet that begins attracting exactly the circumstances, people, and opportunities you need to materialize that vision. This isn't a poetic metaphor, but a precise description of a real energetic phenomenon that you can observe operating in your own life when you develop the mental discipline to sustain intense thoughts charged with authentic emotion. A weak, casual thought without emotional commitment generates no detectable magnetic field. It's like a radio tuned to such a low frequency that it can't clearly capture any station. But an obsessive thought, one you've consistently fed with the emotion of burning desire, one you've sustained with the unwavering determination of someone who knows exactly what they want, this generates an attraction field so powerful that it can literally change the circumstances of your external reality in ways that initially may seem impossible to explain rationally. Your subconscious mind, operating with this new intensive programming, begins filtering all the information you receive daily, highlighting exactly those elements that can contribute to your goal and discarding everything that doesn't serve your vision. You start noticing opportunities that previously went completely unnoticed, hearing conversations that contain exactly the information you need, meeting people who can open specific doors on your path to abundance. This transformation in your perceptive capacity isn't coincidence or luck. It's the natural response of a mental system that has finally received clear and sustained instructions about what to look for and where to direct its enormous processing power. When your thought reaches that critical intensity where it becomes an organized obsession, your brain begins working like a hypersensitive radar that detects opportunity signals at frequencies that were previously outside your range of perception. But the most extraordinary aspect of this process is how it begins to influence your energetic presence in ways that others can immediately feel, though they can't rationally explain, why they suddenly perceive you differently. Your confidence becomes magnetic because it comes from genuine internal certainty. Your conversation becomes more influential because every word is backed by a conviction that others can viscerally feel. People begin seeking you out for collaboration, investment, or partnership opportunities because your energy projects the vibration of someone who is clearly on the path to success. Your network of contacts naturally expands because successful people are attracted to those who operate from this level of clarity and mental determination. The intensity of your thinking literally reshapes the electromagnetic field around you, creating a vortex that draws in resonant experiences and repels dissonant ones. This isn't mystical fantasy. It's the natural consequence of concentrated mental energy functioning according to precise universal laws. Just as a magnifying glass focuses scattered sunlight into a powerful beam capable of igniting a fire, your obsessive thinking focuses scattered mental energy into a beam capable of igniting transformative change in your material circumstances. This level of mental intensity doesn't require constant emotional highs or exhausting effort. Once properly established, it operates as your new baseline, a steady, powerful current flowing through everything you do rather than sporadic bursts of motivation. It becomes the silent engine driving every decision, every conversation, every relationship toward your envisioned outcome with unwavering precision. Write in the comments, "My mind is unstoppable," if you can feel how this mental intensity is beginning to reorganize your internal experience. These specific techniques for amplifying the manifestation power of your mental intensity are grounded in a deep understanding of how the invisible mechanism behind all wealth creation really operates. Because the burning desire you've been cultivating isn't simply an intense emotion that occasionally makes you feel motivated. It is literally the energetic starting point of every financial achievement that has existed in human history. Every fortune you admire, every business empire you respect, every extraordinary financial transformation you've observed, absolutely all began with someone who experienced that burning desire at a level that transcends most people's understanding. We're not talking about superficially wanting something or having occasional good wishes about improving economically. It's like the difference between a small fire that barely produces enough heat to warm your hands and a forest fire that can completely transform the landscape. Weak desire, which characterizes most people, produces equally weak results because it doesn't generate the thermal energy necessary to melt the resistances, separating your current situation from your vision of abundance. But when your desire reaches that burning intensity that truly deserves that name, when it becomes that organized obsession we've been exploring, it generates enough energetic heat to melt any obstacle standing between you and your financial goal. It's that transformative force that doesn't accept no as a final answer, that finds alternatives where others see dead ends, that persists when logic suggests giving up. However, here comes the revelation that will definitively separate your approach from the amateur approach that keeps most people trapped in endless cycles of effort without proportional results. It's not enough to have an intense, burning desire if that desire doesn't have specific coordinates toward which to direct all that transformative energy. Absolute specificity in your financial goals isn't an optional methodological detail. It's the difference between shooting with laser precision toward a clearly defined target and shooting into the air hoping to hit something by chance. You must set the exact amount of money you want to generate. Not a lot of money or enough to live well, but a specific figure that your subconscious mind can use as a precise coordinate in its navigation toward that reality. Establish the exact date when you plan to reach that financial goal. Not someday or when possible, but a specific date on the calendar that creates real urgency and allows you to work backward to design the necessary actions. But here's something even more profound about the journey toward this specific vision. Every failure you experience on your path toward abundance, every obstacle that appears when you least expect it, every rejection you receive when you're giving your maximum effort, each carries hidden in its core the seed of a benefit equal to or greater than the pain it's causing you in the present moment. This isn't superficial philosophical consolation to make you feel better. It's the precise description of how the invisible mechanism of growth and manifestation truly operates. What you perceive as failure isn't the universe rejecting, criticizing, or punishing you for daring to dream big. It's the universe molding you, strengthening your character, expanding your capacity, refining your strategy, preparing you to successfully sustain the level of abundance you're asking for. Because here's the truth few understand. The universe cannot deliver something you're not capable of maintaining without self-destructing in the process. Each apparent failure is a disguised masterclass, a resistance test that develops exactly the skills you'll need to handle success when it arrives. It teaches you persistence when you want to give up. It develops creativity when obvious methods fail. It mentally strengthens you when doubts try to sabotage your vision. When you change your perspective on failures from enemies to be avoided to teachers to be embraced, your entire journey toward wealth transforms into an adventure of accelerated growth where every experience, no matter how challenging, directly contributes to your evolution toward the person who can create and sustain genuine abundance. Write in the comments, "My failures are my teachers," if you understand that obstacles aren't blocking your path, but actually forming it. But there exists an even more powerful element that definitively separates those who build wealth from those who remain waiting for something external to change their circumstances. It's the profound understanding that wealth isn't something casually found, but something deliberately provoked through bold personal initiative and decisive action. The true leader, the genuine abundance creator, acts first, even when no one else around them has moved, even when others consider their action premature or risky, even when they don't have perfect models to follow or absolute guarantees of success. They see an opportunity and move immediately, not after others have validated that opportunity, but when it's still in its embryonic form and has maximum growth potential. This personal initiative that provokes wealth operates from the understanding that the universe rewards those who take intelligent action, not those who wait for perfect conditions that never arrive. Every great fortune began with someone who dared to act when others doubted, who moved when others were paralyzed, who created opportunities where others only saw obstacles. Initiative doesn't mean acting impulsively without strategy. It means acting strategically without waiting for all uncertainty to disappear. It means taking the first step when you have clarity about the direction, even though you can't see all the subsequent steps. It means becoming the cause rather than remaining the effect of circumstances. The most successful wealth creators throughout history share this common trait. They didn't wait for permission, perfect timing, or complete certainty. They recognized that the first mover advantage in any field creates opportunities that simply don't exist for those who arrive later. They understood that decisive action itself creates clarity that cannot be obtained through endless analysis and planning. When you develop this capacity for bold initiative, you discover a manifestation tool that operates constantly in your life, but that most people unconsciously use against themselves. We're talking about the extraordinary power of your everyday language, how each word you pronounce functions as a direct declaration of power or limitation that automatically programs your future experience. The words you choose to use aren't simply sounds you emit to communicate with others. They are specific orders your subconscious receives and executes without questioning. Precise instructions that determine what kind of reality you'll experience in the days and weeks that follow. Each phrase you pronounce is literally sculpting your destiny, creating or destroying possibilities, expanding or limiting your field of available opportunities. When you speak like someone who already lives in abundance, when your language reflects the prosperity mindset you're cultivating, when your conversations project the energy of someone who is clearly on the path to success, you aren't pretending or creating an elaborate facade. You're consciously participating in the programming of your new reality. You're training your nervous system to operate from the frequency of abundance rather than the frequency of scarcity. The difference between saying, "I can't afford it," and saying, "How can I create the resources for this?" is the difference between programming limitation and programming creativity into your subconscious mind. The difference between affirming, "I never have money," and declaring, "I'm developing multiple income sources," is the difference between ordering scarcity and ordering abundance from the invisible forces that respond to your dominant vibration. Your daily language creates a constant stream of commands to your subconscious mind, shaping your perception filters and determining what opportunities you'll recognize and which you'll remain blind to. When you say, "This is impossible for me," your subconscious faithfully creates the internal conditions that make that statement true. When you declare, "I always find a way," your mental operating system reorganizes itself to fulfill that expectation. This language programming doesn't just affect your internal state, it directly influences how others perceive and respond to you. People unconsciously assess your energy, confidence, and capability largely through your verbal expressions. The language of limitation signals to others that you're not ready for bigger opportunities. The language of possibility and certainty signals that you're someone worth investing in, partnering with, or opening doors for. The transformation begins by becoming consciously aware of your current language patterns. Start listening to your own everyday expressions about money, opportunity, and your capabilities. You'll likely be shocked at how many limiting declarations have become habitual in your speech. These aren't innocent phrases. They're precise programming codes that have been shaping your financial reality without your awareness. Write in the comments, "I'm watching my words," if you recognize how powerful your everyday language has been in creating your current circumstances. But there's an even more profound revelation that can catalyze instantaneously everything you've been learning and transform it into a revolutionary lived experience that transforms your reality from its root. This revelation involves your relationship with what traditionally has been considered your greatest enemy on the path to financial freedom: fear. Fear isn't your natural enemy. It's pure energy that can be completely transformed when you understand its true nature and learn to channel it strategically. There's nothing more powerful in the entire spectrum of human experience than a person who has mastered the art of converting their fear into fuel for success, who has learned to use that intense energy as a propeller toward their objectives rather than as a brake that paralyzes them. When you feel fear before an investment opportunity, before a bold decision, before a calculated risk that could accelerate your financial growth, that fear isn't necessarily telling you to back away. It's signaling that you're about to exit your comfort zone, that you're approaching the territory where real growth occurs, that you're on the threshold of a significant transformation. The difference between those who build wealth and those who remain trapped in financial mediocrity isn't the absence of fear, it's their response to fear. Abundance creators feel the same fear as everyone else, but they've learned to interpret it as a signal that they're moving in the right direction, as confirmation that they're challenging their current limits to reach their next level. Transforming fear into an ally means recognizing that this intense energy can become the most powerful force, driving you toward decisive action, toward creativity under pressure, toward innovation that emerges when you must find solutions others consider impossible. The emotional intensity of fear, when properly channeled, provides an energy boost that can propel you past obstacles that would stop someone operating from comfort alone. Financial masters, throughout history, haven't been fearless. They've been fear alchemists, transforming that primal energy into creative power, decisive action, and resilience through challenges. This transformation isn't about denying or suppressing fear, but about redirecting its energy toward your objectives rather than away from them. But there exists an even more fundamental quality that determines whether you'll actually materialize all this understanding into tangible results or whether it will remain theoretical knowledge without real impact on your financial life. We're talking about persistence, that invisible force that functions like a hammer, breaking the hardest stone into dust with repeated blows. It's the quality that definitively separates dreamers from achievers, talkers from builders, planners from materializers. Persistence isn't simply continuing to do the same thing repeatedly, hoping for different results. It's that intelligent determination that adapts, learns, evolves, but never abandons the ultimate goal. Life in all its apparent complexity has a fascinating characteristic that few completely understand. It systematically surrenders to those people who persist with intelligence and purpose, regardless of how many obstacles appear in their path. It's not that life favors some over others. It's that sustained persistence creates such constant energetic pressure that it eventually finds or creates the necessary fissures to break through any resistance. Each time you persist when others abandon, each time you get up when others remain fallen, each time you seek an alternative when others accept a dead end, you're sending an unequivocal signal to the universe that your commitment to your vision transcends temporary circumstances. The universe, like a great cosmic testing bank, responds to that signal by opening new possibilities that didn't exist before. This persistence becomes particularly powerful when combined with the emotional intensity we've been discussing. When your burning desire fuels your persistence, you create a force of nature that simply cannot be stopped by external circumstances. Behind every overnight success that captivates the world's attention stands the invisible foundation of years of persistent effort when no one was watching. Countless failures that served as stepping stones rather than stopping points, and the unwavering commitment to continue regardless of immediate results. Write in the comments, "My persistence is unwavering," if you recognize this quality awakening within you as the essential foundation for all lasting wealth creation. But the final revelation, which may catalyze instantaneously everything you've discovered so far, transforms the ordinary approach to wealth creation into something extraordinary. Real transformation isn't about changing the external world, convincing others to support your vision, or waiting for circumstances to perfectly align for your success. It's about completely transforming your internal identity so that your external reality has no choice but to reorganize itself to reflect this new version of you. When you fundamentally modify who you are at the deepest level of your being, when you change the core beliefs that have been governing your life experience, when you adopt the energetic identity of someone who already lives in abundance, something extraordinary happens automatically. Your external reality begins to transform without you having to force or manipulate anything specifically. People treat you differently because you project a different energy. Opportunities naturally appear because your new vibration attracts experiences that match it. Your capacity to make bold decisions expands because you operate from a foundation of personal power rather than limitation. This identity transformation isn't a superficial cosmetic change. It's a fundamental reconfiguration of your internal operating system. It's becoming someone for whom abundance is natural, for whom success is inevitable, for whom prosperity is simply an expression of their true nature. And when this new identity completely solidifies, when it becomes your dominant internal reality, you discover that creating external wealth becomes as natural as breathing, as inevitable as the dawn after the darkest night. The journey of identity transformation begins with a profound understanding that you aren't merely seeking to have more, you're becoming more. You're not just pursuing wealth as something external to acquire, but embodying wealth as something internal to express. This shift from pursuing to embodying represents the quantum leap in consciousness that separates those who struggle for wealth from those who naturally generate it. This transformation occurs at multiple levels, simultaneously. At the conscious level, you deliberately choose thoughts, words, and actions that align with your new, prosperous identity. At the subconscious level, your deeply held beliefs, emotional patterns, and automatic responses gradually rewire to support this new self-concept. At the energetic level, your vibrational signature shifts to broadcast the frequency of abundance rather than scarcity. The most powerful catalyst for this identity transformation is the consistent practice of living as if your desired reality were already present, not as pretense or self-deception, but as conscious embodiment of the truth you're bringing into manifestation. You speak, think, decide, and act not from who you've been, but from who you're becoming, who you've already become in the quantum field of infinite possibilities. This practice of embodiment creates a powerful resonance between your internal state and the external circumstances you seek to manifest. The universe, operating through precise vibrational laws, has no choice but to reflect back to you the dominant frequency you consistently broadcast. When you embody prosperity at the level of identity, prosperity becomes your natural experience rather than a distant goal. The evidence of this transformation will appear first in subtle ways: increased synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, new insights and ideas, shifts in how others respond to you. These are the early signs that your identity shift is beginning to reorganize your external reality. As you maintain this new state of being, these manifestations accelerate and expand, creating a momentum that eventually transforms every aspect of your financial experience. But perhaps the most profound aspect of this identity transformation is how it liberates you from the exhausting struggle that characterizes most approaches to wealth creation. Instead of constantly pushing against resistance, you find yourself in flow with the natural current of abundance. Instead of fighting for every opportunity, you find yourself magnetically attracting them. Instead of convincing others of your value, you find them naturally recognizing and responding to it. If you felt a deep resonance with these revelations, if you sense that these truths are awakening something fundamental within you, if you recognize that this message found you at precisely the right moment in your journey, write in the comments, "My identity is changing." This is just the beginning of a much deeper journey into financial consciousness transformation, where the version of you that's emerging will create possibilities far beyond what your current perspective can even imagine. If you've made it this far, until this final moment of our journey together, it's because something profound has resonated with you, because you've recognized in these words not just information, but a direct call to your highest potential. And that tells me you're ready to continue this transformation, that you won't allow this awakening to dissolve into daily routine. That's why I invite you to subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning of a much deeper exploration. Here, we Constantly share the most advanced revelations and techniques for transforming financial consciousness, for developing that mindset that converts dreams into tangible empires. If you've truly absorbed everything we've explored together, if you feel these revelations are stirring something fundamental within you, write in the comments, "This message was for me." I want to know that this connection we've created has been authentic, that you haven't simply been listening to words, but receiving the keys you've been waiting to find. And if you've felt that deep resonance, if you can sense that your relationship with abundance is beginning to transform right now, give this video a like, because when something truly valuable touches your life, it's natural to want to honor it, recognize it, allow that energy to expand. There's a video right here beside this one that perfectly complements everything we've just explored, where we delve into specific techniques to accelerate this identity transformation we're initiating. Click and continue with me over there, because your journey toward real abundance is just beginning, and the best is yet to come.